It's back. Long dreaded, often feared. The SAT, whether you like it or not, it's making a comeback. The test was optional during COVID to the delight of many students. But some colleges and universities are rethinking that decision. Higher education reporter Hilary Burns is here to explain. Okay, Hilary, why the reversal of fortune on taking the SATs?
So there's new research out that says the SAT actually can be really helpful in identifying disadvantaged students who have the potential to succeed at very selective colleges. So while we're not seeing a ton of colleges reinstating the SAT, there are a few very high-profile schools, Yale, Dartmouth, and MIT, that have said, if you want to come here, you have to take the test.
Now, you have written that the test can be maybe inherently biased or disadvantaged students of color. Mm-hmm. How and why is that?
Yeah, so for a long time, critics of the test have said that the test is unfair, it's biased, and this new research says that the test does show inequities in society, and that's a problem. But if the schools are using the test to say, okay, this student is from an under-resourced school and they scored better than average at that school, that's great, and maybe they could succeed here too. So they're not using it to compare a student from a selective private high school to an under-resourced high school. So I think that how the SAT is used is changing.
So help me understand this then. Mm-hmm. If there's so much smoke around the test, mm-hmm. right, questions about its bias or even its efficacy, mm-hmm. what's the fire for these schools to kind of bring it back?
So these schools are looking for ways to maintain diversity. We know that last year the Supreme Court said they can no longer use race-based affirmative action in admissions, so they are reevaluating all different parts of the admissions process to see what can they change, what can they maintain to make sure they're recruiting students from all different backgrounds. And some of these schools are saying the SAT is a helpful tool, especially if a student's coming from a school where they don't have access to AP courses or other expensive extracurriculars, that the SAT could actually help that student show their potential.
But there's always been talk that it disadvantages people of color. I would think that a test would not be of a disadvantage as opposed to like expensive tutoring or extracurriculars or all of these other things that you might not have access to. So I guess which is it?
That's a good question. The experts I spoke with said the SAT is not perfect, but it's actually less biased than a lot of the other components that go into the college admissions process. So expensive extracurriculars, like you just said, or going to expensive private schools that have hands-on counselors to walk you through the application process, or hiring private tutors to help you with your essay. Those are areas that are more biased, these experts are saying, than the standardized exam, which there are free prep materials out there that people say are great.
So that, I think, is something that also isn't understood, that they say, oh, you can't prepare for the test, but there is free prep that people mm-hmm. do have access to?
Yes, Khan Academy offers free SAT prep that people say is excellent.
One of the things that has always surrounded the test is whether or not it is trustworthy. Mm-hmm. How do we parse that? How can we understand if there is truthfulness in whatever score you receive?
I think that's a question that these schools are going to have to grapple with. I think it will take time, especially we've had a 4-year hiatus from the SAT, so people are not taking it as much as they were before. So that's going to take time, I think, to tell students, convince students that actually this could help you if you take this test. Even if it's not perfect, it is a good indicator of your academic success in college.
Higher education reporter Hilary Burns. I'm always smarter. We are always smarter when you join us on Boston Globe Today. Thank you.
Thank you.
For Boston Globe Today interviews delivered straight to your inbox, be sure to sign up for our newsletter at bostonglobe.com/BGT.